morning I'm thinking like, what if it did work? What if you took action and made it happen and started living inside of your purpose? What if it did work? Right now you can make the choice to never listen to that negative voice no more.
Welcome to Wednesday night, Hump Day, Omar, Hump Day. Day 3 of our 5-day extravaganza on things that you must do to have a successful 2024. That February is the new January. And by the way, I did a little research, and that hashtag is used less than 1,000 times. So if you hashtag it, you'll probably get us on the
Well,
replies.
what people don't understand is when they do the hashtag, they pick blessed, they pick grateful, they pick one with like 10 million.
Right.
It's 10 million views. If you're going to be an influencer, if you want to be discovered, how are you going to be discovered with all that noise?
That's what I'm there with you, man. You know, it's like
Hey, man, that's what
I don't even know what FYP means, but they want you to hashtag it on TikTok. So that tells you where I am on my social media presence.
Well, with me, it's hashtag vacation CEO, hashtag what if it did work, and hashtag my name,
There you go. I mean, so great week so far. I feel like we've really kind of uncovered some things, told some war stories and helped bring some clarity to some folks. If you haven't been watching all week, I encourage you to go to the What If It Did Work group page and scroll down, and you'll have a bird's eye view of all of what we're doing. But for today, being that it's hump day, I want to talk about the thing between our ears, our mindset, how the mindset is really a key component of not just success this year, but success in general, right? I don't know. What is it they say? A negative mind will never lead to a positive life. But a positive mindset is not something that occurs naturally.
No, when people think of mindset, they think of like that Stuart Smalley, the Saturday Night Live, the little skit. I'm smart enough. I'm good enough.
I started. People like me.
Yeah, and you know what? That's bake it till you make it.
Yeah,
you really can't. You really can't. My mindset is a shift, and it is all in here and everything, every aspect, even sports. That's why I mean, shoot, the great ones. Heck, LSU for most of those losses against against Nick Saban, we were winning. We were winning at the end, and he just pulled it off because when you have that mindset, when you have that winning mindset, when you have that calm, cool, and collected, because a lot of times what we do is we go in panic mode. We go in scarcity. We retreat. We have a setback. Oh my gosh, I ate bad today, so let me eat bad tomorrow. Oh my gosh, let me get on the scale after eating bad for 2 days. Let me just let me just quit. Things are going to change, but not for me. Success isn't for me. Losing weight's not for me. And then we play victim mode. Or we lie to ourselves and go, hey, you know what? I always knew those odd years, 2025. That's my year.
You got me. You got me all choked up. You're absolutely right, and I would say too. And we talked about time last night a little bit. Your past and how you were brought up will affect your mindset. But the beauty of it is you can relearn, you can reprogram. But it takes, number one, it takes intentional effort. But number two, it takes learning the skill.
It's all about
not COVID.
It's like, oh, even if it was, we're gonna flatten the curve one day. It's like building a muscle. You have to go out and you have to do it. You don't wake up with all this confidence.
Right.
You have to fall in order to get up. You have to fall 19 times to get up 20 times and realize, you have to have that short-term memory. You can't focus on the 19 times you fell. You can't focus on the losses. You just have to focus. You have to have an extremely short-term memory
Yeah.
and go, hey, you know what? This was a learning lesson. This was a learning experience.
It's like when you're trying to learn to ride a bicycle as a kid. I mean, if we would take the adult way, the quote unquote adult way, the first time we just laid that thing over, you must be, well, I guess I'm just not meant to ride a bicycle. I mean, that's what people do, right? It's like they hit one brick wall or they get screwed over one time or it didn't work out the way they planned. All of a sudden it's like, well, I guess I'm just not meant to do that. And it's just so short-sighted. I pick on Dave Ramsey sometimes. I followed him. He helped me a whole lot through getting out of debt. But he says something that's really profound. And he says, your first month's budget is not going to work. It's going to suck. It's going to not add up because you can't think of everything. The second month will be a little bit better. The month after, the same is true in any endeavor. The same is true in trying to cultivate a positive mindset. The same is true starting a business. It's all going to be crap at first, and that's okay. Crap is part of the journey. And I think so many times people just think they're going to, well, today I'm going to manifest this and I'm going to be that. And, you know, my bank account's going to be full by payday. No, it's not. You've got to develop the skill. And if you had a crap upbringing, or if you got burned by a partner if you've been through a divorce, if you've had tragedy in your life, if you've lost a loved one, yeah, that's going to affect your ability to have a positive mindset. But again, it can be programmed. It can be reprogrammed. These neural pathways in here, and I'm not a neurologist, but I've listened to a podcast or two. You can reprogram them if you're intentional about doing it and have a desire. It gets back to the very thing we said night one. We'll probably say it 18 times. You've got to make a decision and follow up that decision with proper action.
And you have to realize it's a process. It's a journey. The reason why it takes a lot longer than you can ever expect is because it's such an amazing goal. Now, if your goal is small, if you're morbidly obese and you're like, I'm going to lose 5 pounds, big deal. But when you see people doing the impossible and not doing the gastric bypass,
right,
doing the effort, doing it, writing a book. When you hear J.K. Rowling's and the Harry Potters and all the rejections and living in the car and being on public assistance, government assistance, and just still being determined and believing in yourself. A lot of times people stub their toe and that's it. It's a death sentence.
Yeah. And I think about J.K. Rowling, the so-called experts didn't really know, did they?
No.
And if she'd have listened to them when she knew in her heart that this story needed to be told, I mean, she could have just hung it up and go, well, I guess writing's just not for me.
Exactly. She could have been like, after all these rejections, she could have been like, this isn't it. This maybe these books, maybe this idea is just designed to share with my family, with my kids. Maybe I'm not a writer. But when you have so much conviction, you have so much faith, you have so much determination in you that you can see it, you can touch it, and you just have those blinders on, and you scratch the record and change the focus every time, every naysayer, every rejection. Where we all hear no, we all get rejected, we all fall down, there's no such thing as failure. Failure is just packing it up and saying, hey.
One of the things that came to mind as you were unpacking that, positivity is not Pollyanna. Positivity is determination. Some people, you hear the word positive, the power of positive thinking and all this, and you think it's just like, it's all going to be, smelling roses and skipping through the garden. And that's not what positive thinking is at all. Positive thinking is believing that you're going to come out better than you are right now. It is saying I have the ability, the confidence, the skill set to get through and push through and succeed. That's what a positive mindset is. It's not, oh, it's all going to work out in the end and I don't have to do anything. And I think that's where there's a disconnect in most people. Crap's going to happen, and you're going to have days that you're going to want to kick the dog when you get home. You're going to have days when you're going to want to hang it all up. But the positive mindset is, in spite of how I feel, I'm making a choice to push through to my ultimate goal. And I think that's, if we could do anything for people tonight, it's creating that definition for them. Because again, I think too many people think that a positive mindset is just happy all the time. And I don't believe that at all.
Oh, no, I told you, Dave, I wanted to quit the podcast plenty of times. I've wanted, when I had to rewrite my first book, I was just like, maybe the naysayers are right. Maybe nobody's going to want to read this. Maybe only my kids and my mom will buy a copy. There's been plenty of times that, you know, you play the Celine Dion soundtrack to the Titanic, and you feel like, you're in complete victim mode, and why me? Why me? And you sound like Nancy Kerrigan. Why me? Why me? And the truth of the matter is nobody's going to friggin' save you. Nobody even wants to hear you cry. If I posted on Facebook, I'm sad and I'm thinking of quitting any aspect of my life, I might get cyber hugs. But everybody's so far into their own stuff, it would be like that. They would forget all about it.
Oh yeah. And I believe that you can have your moments. When if you went to work today and you had a negative experience, or if you put yourself out there and some troll got a hold of you, if you had a tragedy in your life, you are allowed the moment to really scream or cry or feel defeated. But the positive mindset is, once you've had your moment, making that decision to move forward, whatever that looks like. And for me, I just see so many people, when something goes wrong or something happens that's unfair, they go into victim mode, or either victim mode, or they'll go into bitter mode, and they're just bitter about everything from that time forward. Both of those will lead you down a path of defeat. It's the victor mode, or it's the letting it go mode. You say, well, David, I got screwed over. How do I let it go? You have to intentionally decide, I'm going to let this go. And you say it every day, and you take action behind it every day until you feel it. Like you said, it's not necessarily fake it till you make it. It's more like be intentional until you don't have to be intentional about it anymore. If you have to forgive somebody, I've been screwed over so many times in my life. It's just ridiculous. I've had ex-employees, calling my phone, and masking their phone number. And I've had them calling me all kinds of names in the book. And in the moment, it's like a punch in the gut. It's like, you want to be, physically ill. But at some point you're like, you know what? I have to move on, because dwelling in that zone is not going to get me, my family, or my purpose where it needs to go. And so, I'm not a Disney fan, but maybe I need to sing Let It Go a few more times until I reach that point. That is also part of building a positive mindset.
Exactly. Everybody hurts sometimes. Everybody falls. But you know what? Nobody loves to hear the story about the quitter. Everybody loves to stream. I can't recall the story, that amazing love story or that amazing adventure where Indiana Jones just says, you know what, this is too tough. Marion, let's just pack it up. Let's pack it in. Story over. There's
Yeah.
always adversity. Everybody loves to watch it. Everybody loves to see the underdog. Everybody loves to put themselves in that scenario, but they're too afraid to do it themselves. And there's plenty of, there's plenty out there. There's people out there that have gone through more adversity than both of us. There's people that have had worse cards dealt with them. When somebody, the biggest poo poo, oh, woe's me, is life isn't fair. It's never been fair. You
Right.
know, sorry you weren't born into the royal family. Sorry, you weren't King Henry VIII. Like, sorry, you weren't genetically dispositioned to be 6'9" and can be the next LeBron James. Life isn't fair. But you know what? You have to suck it up and do what you have with what you're dealt with and overcome that and show everybody what you got.
There's an example in the news this week of that very thing. And I'm not much on the royal family, but King Charles, look how long he had to wait to be crowned. And less than a year into his reign, he's having to deal with cancer. A thing that could derail him, literally could kill him. I don't know what kind of cancer he's actually got or how bad it is. But to have lived your entire life waiting for the opportunity, to ascend to what you believe is your purpose in this life. I would imagine when he hit that diagnosis, he probably had that moment of like, really? And again, I bet you he took a moment, dealt with the cards, and now he's like, okay, now I know what's in front of me. I'm going to deal with it and move on. Again, he may be gone. It may be King Philip in 6 months. I hope not. But the truth of the matter is crap happens to everybody, and it never happens at an opportune moment.
Even with his story, if you think about it, his mother was the longest reigning monarch of all monarchies.
Yeah.
From like, what was it, like 70 years or something
It's
outrageous?
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, talk about having patience and just waiting your turn. And like what you said, life isn't fair. How about if his reign was only a year? And then, well, if you want to look at it in a positive light, his mom, Elizabeth, him, his grandfather, the only reason why all of them became the royal family, like the heirs to the throne, was because his great uncle advocated the throne
Mm-hmm.
for love. So, what's to say? You know, it is what it is. It's like you have to look at things positive.
Yeah.
The royal family, you could be like Philip's brother, and writing books saying that his sole purpose was to be an organ donor just in case and whatnot. Woe is me, man. You know how many other it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this, some of the people that I've coached, I use this term for, and I think it fits here. And that is, current reality is an acquired taste. But once you can start dealing with current reality, you can then create the tension to get you to where your goals are. The current reality is the A, and we're trying to get you to your B, or you can say it's your, where I am to where I want to go, your purpose versus your present, whatever. But a lot of people's current reality is not a pretty picture. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to look in that mirror because they see all the flaws, they see all the shortcomings. But once you take that look and then have the confidence that you can grow out of that into something greater, that's where that positivity comes into play too. It's that confidence knowing that I can be better than I was. And I'm about to be 55. I thought in my 40s, I couldn't improve anymore. Not from an arrogant standpoint, but you're just running out of room. You're running out of time. You're running out of lessons. But I can tell you at 55, I'm so much better than I was at 45. And so you have to believe that your best days are still ahead of you. And if you can do that, you can develop the skill set to forgive, to look forward instead of back, and to really begin to believe that you can be better. And that is what a positive mindset is.
Positive mindset, Dave. You have to, I put it this way, it's all part of your purpose. It's all part of your plan. Every discomfort, every disappointment, and every door closing, that is all part of the plan so that your bigger door can finally open.
Yes. And I think that's a good segue into what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night as we continue our 5-day, I like extravaganza. It makes me sound like a Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman. But tomorrow we're going to talk about personal development and skill building. And I will tell you that personal development is the number one way to get you where you want to go. All the things we're talking about here are all phases of personal development, but this is also true. Most people do zero personal development. It's not sexy enough for them, or maybe they don't make the time or don't have the time for it. And yet it's the key to unlocking everything that they want. So Omar, I'm going to let you have the final word tonight because I have talked way too much. Take us out with some final words of wisdom, my friend.
Okay, my final words of wisdom. Well, for starters, can we do it at 4? Because I'm in Newark, so I'll be at the airport.
4 o'clock.
4 p.m. your time. 4 p.m. Central. 3
4
p.m.
Central.
2.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also, go watch his TED Talk on YouTube.
Yeah, watch it. It's
join 50,000 of his closest friends who've already watched it.
Believe it or not, I haven't watched it.
I did. I watched it on the way back from Louisiana.
I lived it.
Yes, it's true. Say, words of wisdom. Let's go.
Words of wisdom. This is the one thing, it's going to take time. I'm here in Newark because I'm literally have a paid gig tomorrow with a publicly traded corporation, which was a shocker. AAK Food Services. I thought this was going to happen years ago. I thought there was going to be such a high demand. I thought the heavens were going to open after I wrote a book. I thought the heavens were going to open at the second book. I thought maybe people were going to be clamoring. The Ed Milet's, the Andy Frisillas, the Grant Cardones. I thought everybody would be like, well, we need to have him on my podcast, or we need to be on his podcast, but it hasn't happened. Why? Because it's just not my time. Have I lost? Heck, I have to work because I got scammed by people. It's not your failure or your setbacks. Use it to motivate you. Use it to tell people a story. You are the writer of your obituary. I say that in my book. What is it that you wanted to say? That you're an amazing streamer, that you did great on fantasy football? No, you wanted to say this person, me, I know what I wanted to say. Omar Medrano was in complete service. He helped out everybody that he could. He didn't care if he had a dime, they had a dime or not, because that's true. That's what you and I are all about. Yes, we want to get paid. Yes, we want to be on those stages. But whatever you want, it's going to take effort. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take just looking forward and saying, I don't care. There's going to be people that your loved ones that don't believe in you. They're going to tell you to stop. Why? Because they don't have their dreams. They never had dreams. They never had the courage to go for it. So they're going to tell you to stop because subconsciously they don't want you to succeed, because the pain of seeing you succeed, it diminishes them. It hurts. It hurts their soul. So go for it, whatever it is, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's to lose weight, whether it's to write a book, whether it's to make it your own hustle, your own becoming an entrepreneur. Maybe it's to be the best salesman. Maybe it's to be the best spouse, the best brother, father, mother, whatever it is. You have all the tools within you. You have to believe in yourself. That's where the mindset is. We all deserve success. You know, yeah, I'm Catholic, so no, I do believe that Jesus Christ did all he did. You know, God put him down here, and you know, I don't want to be spiritual. I don't want to read scripture, so that we can live in glory. If we were made in God's image, it was to be created to be a victor, to be successful, not to just exist, not to just have the crumbs of love, the crumbs of success. It is what it is. You were meant for so much more. And I honestly believe that. Even if you are an atheist, or even if you believe in something else, believe in yourself at least. I believe in you. I believe in man. I believe that there's good in everybody. And I believe that there's a rock star, there's a star waiting to come out in each and every person out there.
And with that, I don't think there's anything that can be added. Guys, thank y'all for being on tonight. Look forward to tomorrow night. But with that, I think we're out, man.
Well, tomorrow I'll be in a suit and I'll be talking to you in an airport somewhere.
4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. Yeah.
All right, folks. Good to see y'all tonight. God bless.
I'm thinking like, what if it did work? What if you took action and made it happen and started living inside of your purpose? What if it did work? Right now you can make the choice to never listen to that negative